Subscribe to our channel Sigma Cheats Hub for more stories. Now let's begin this one. Max Briner stepped off the military transport plane, shielding his eyes from the strong sunlight as he returned to American soil. After 3 tours in Afghanistan, he had become tougher in ways most people couldn't understand. His right hand gently ran over the scar along his forearm, a lasting reminder of the roadside bomb that nearly ended his life a year and a half ago. Before joining the army, Max was rising fast in the world of private security and intelligence work. His sharp thinking and strong will made him an expert in threat analysis and planning. The military only sharpened those skills even more. Max checked his phone and was surprised to see no messages from Tori, his wife of 12 years. She had been distant during their recent video calls, but Max assumed it was just the pressure of his long absence. Their 2 children, Lily, 10, and Noah, 8, meant everything to him. During deployment, he had imagined countless times how this homecoming would be. His kids hugging him tightly, and Tori greeting him with a kiss. A taxi dropped him off at their home in Oak Ridge. The neat lawn looked perfect, but he felt an odd emptiness. There were no balloons or signs welcoming him back. He paid the driver and picked up his duffel bag. He noticed their neighbor, Diane Stanley, quickly duck into her house when she saw him. Something felt off. Max frowned when his key didn't work in the front door. He reached for his phone to call Tori, but before he could dial, a message appeared. "Don't bother coming. The locks are changed. The kids don't want you. It's over." Max stared at the screen, the words hitting him like punches. He stood still for nearly 2 minutes, trying to understand what it meant. Then calmly he typed, "As you wish." He turned and walked away from the house, his face unreadable. Inside, his emotions stormed, but on the outside, he was still the composed operative who had faced gunfire without blinking. He found a quiet bench in a nearby park and made a single call. "Patricia, Max Briner. It's happening. Start protocol echo." 24 hours later, Max sat in a simple hotel room, cleaning his service pistol, not with any harmful intention, but as a calming routine he had practiced for years. His phone buzzed non-stop with alerts. 19 missed calls from Tori. When it rang again, he answered. "You son of a..." The voice wasn't Tori's. It was a man furious. "I'm Russell Bennett, Tori's lawyer. You had no right to touch her trust fund. That money is hers." Max allowed a small smile. "Is it really? This is theft. You might want to check the documents more closely, counselor. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm on my way to see my children." He hung up and slipped the phone into his pocket. The first step of his plan was complete. What Tori didn't know was that Max had prepared for this situation for years, not because he expected betrayal, but because strategic planning was in his nature. The family courtroom was tense as Max walked in, his posture straight and firm. Across the room sat Tori with a man Max recognized, Bradley Reynolds, a rich real estate developer and Tori's secret lover for the past year. Max's lawyer, Patricia Donovan, sat beside him. She was not only an expert in family law but also deeply loyal. Max had once helped her brother avoid financial disaster. "All rise," the bailiff announced as Judge Martha Henley entered, a serious woman with 30 years of experience. "Let's get to the point. Mrs. Briner, you filed for an emergency protection order, claiming your husband is dangerous. Mr. Briner denies this. Present your evidence." Tori's lawyer stood quickly. "Your Honor, Mr. Briner froze all family funds, leaving my client and her children with nothing. He's a trained combat soldier with PTSD. "Objection," Patricia calmly interrupted. "That's emotional and misleading." "Sustained," the judge said. "Stick to the facts, counselor." As the hearing continued, Max remained silent while Tori cried, claiming she feared his anger and trauma. Bradley, behind her, gently touched her shoulder in fake support. When it was Patricia's turn, she handed the judge a folder. "Your Honor, we have proof that Mrs. Briner started a relationship with Mr. Reynolds nearly a year ago while my client was deployed. Tori gasped. That's not relevant. You'll get your chance, Mrs. Briner, the judge warned. We also have recordings where Mrs. Briner refused to let the children speak with their father during deployment, saying they were too busy. The judge read the transcripts, her face hardening. As for finances, Patricia continued, Mrs. Briner's claim of being broke is false. Mr. Briner only moved funds to safe accounts to prevent misuse. He continued to pay household bills and gave a fair allowance. Finally, Max spoke. Your Honor, I don't want to fight. I just want to see my children. I haven't spoken to them since returning from serving my country. The ruling came quickly. No protective order. Immediate visitation for Mac's temporary joint custody until a full hearing. Outside, Bradley approached Max with a smug grin. Why drag this out? Accept the deal. I can make your life easier. Max looked at him calmly. You have no idea what's coming. Later, at his friend Drake Stillman's apartment, Max reunited with Lily and Noah. First, things were a bit awkward. Max answered their questions patiently, never saying anything bad about Tori, even when they repeated lies she told. Mom says you don't want to live with us anymore, Lily said sadly. That's not true, Max replied gently. I want nothing more than to be with both of you. After the children went to sleep, Drake handed Max a drink. They turned your kids against you, man. How are you staying so calm? Max's eyes grew sharp. Because now it's a mission. And I never fail a mission. The next day, Bradley got an anonymous envelope with pictures of him and Tori, dating back several months. His phone rang. You think this scares me? He yelled at Max. I'll destroy you. This isn't a threat, Max replied. It's just a warning. You stepped into a game you don't understand, against someone you underestimated. Behind the scenes, Max's military network gathered vital information. Tori and Bradley had no idea Max wasn't just a soldier. 3 weeks later, Bradley sat stunned at his desk. His business was falling apart. Deals were collapsing. Investors were pulling out. Permits were suddenly cancelled. What is going on? He yelled, throwing a paperweight. His assistant entered nervously. Sir, the Henderson Group is backing out of the Westlake project, and the bank found issues in your loan documents. At the same time, Tori's social life was crumbling. Friends ignored her. She was removed from her club role. Her credit card was declined at a boutique. Your husband reported this card stolen, the store clerk explained. That's not possible, Tori said angrily. I have my own accounts. But when she checked, she discovered a harsh truth. The trust fund from her grandmother, thought to be solely hers, was actually under Max's legal control, a condition her father had insisted on, knowing her poor spending habits. Tori stormed into Bradley's office. Max is doing this. He's destroying us. That's impossible, Bradley muttered. He's just a soldier. No, came a voice. Max stood in the doorway with 2 men in suits. I was never just a soldier. One of the men showed a badge. Mr. Reynolds, I'm Agent Foster with the FBI. We need to talk about some issues in your investment reports. As Bradley was taken away, Max turned to Tori. I never touched your trust fund. Your father did, when he learned you planned to drain it and run off with Reynolds. He always trusted me. Tori broke down. You can't do this. What about the children? They'll learn the truth when they're older. Until then, they'll have one parent who puts them first. The final custody ruling was clear. Primary custody to Max. Tori would have supervised visits and had to complete therapy and parenting classes. Bradley avoided prison through a plea deal but lost everything and moved to Arizona. He never contacted Tori again. 6 months later, Max sat at Noah's soccer game. Lily sat beside him doing homework. They had moved to a peaceful neighborhood, far from gossip and judgment. His phone buzzed. A message from Tori. Please. I've lost everything. Can we talk about a second chance? Max read the message, then quietly deleted it. Some betrayals could not be forgiven. Some scars never fade. But he had protected what mattered: his children and his dignity. Everything else was just the cost of a war he didn't start, but finished with precision. When Noah scored and looked to his dad for approval, Max felt something he hadn't in a long time: peace. Not happiness. That would take time. But the quiet satisfaction of a mission completed successfully. As you wish, he thought. And that brings us to the end of this story. Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your valuable time. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to this channel. Helps a lot. Click on the next video to continue.